Hi everyone. This week's readings, as we know, focused on Lee Strasberg's method acting, and it gave us some history on the actor's studio. One thing that really stood out to me in chapter 2 was Gordon's discussion of the criticisms Strasberg has received over the years. On page 44, one very harsh criticism is, consequently, the method is to blame for the poor quality of American acting during the middle and later parts of the 20th century. But later on page 49, Gordon argues blaming Lee Strasberg for the ills of American acting ignores his important contributions to the American theater. I appreciate that Gordon presented a more balanced perspective instead of simply dismissing method acting or treating it as the only correct approach. It reminded me that theater is constantly evolving and that every generation builds on the work of the people who came before them. Another idea that really connected me was Gordon's emphasis on truthful acting. One of the points he makes is that actors need to justify their acting on stage rather than simply trying to imitate emotions. As a theater teacher, that is something I try to encourage with my own students. Instead of asking them to be sad or to be angry, I want them to understand why their character feels those emotions. I think performances become much more believable when students focus on the character's circumstances instead of trying to force that emotion. On that same topic, I love this Stanislavski quote on page 52. It reads, "An artist does not build his role out of the first thing at hand. He chooses very carefully from among his memories and culls out of his living experiences the one that are most enticing. He weaves the soul of the person he is to portray out of the emotions that were dearer to him than his everyday sensations. Can you imagine a more fertile field of inspiration? An artist takes the best that is in him and carries it over on the stage." I think that I just love that explanation of truthful acting and how to find that emotion and bring out that emotion. Moving on now to chapter 19 and a little history about the Actors Studio. Before this week, I knew the name, but I didn't realize the Actors Studio was created as a place where professional actors could continue learning throughout their careers. I think that's a great reminder that growth as an actor or as an artist in general never really ends. One thing that connected both of the readings for me was the importance of flexibility. As a teacher, I know that every student does not learn the same way. The readings reminded me that one of my jobs as a director is to give students different tools and help them discover what works best for them instead of expecting everyone to approach acting the same way. Overall, these readings gave me a much greater appreciation for Lee Strasberg's contributions and for the role of the Actors Studio has played on American theater. More than anything, they seem to remind me that the goal isn't to follow one acting method perfectly. It's to help actors continue growing and creating truthful performances. Thanks for listening.